Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Energy News Beat Daily Stand-Up. My name's Stuart Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. I'll tell you what, the world is just getting nutsy out there. Let me go ahead and go through our today's stories. Biden's green colonialism sends billions to Africa as Americans suffer at home. Time to halt Russia pipeline gas or import it. I think we're going to find out. There's some strange things going on in the European Union. Morgan Stanley raises Brent oil forecast for late 2025 after OPEC move. Chevron is cutting low carbon spending by 25% amid belt tightening. Does that mean higher prices? What does that mean? EV sales slump, a global reality check. Surprise! You can't force people to buy things that don't work. As I've said this all along, Tesla will be a survivor and it will do quite well. This one, though, is really pretty exciting, revolutionary. Mercedes-Benz solar paint could mean Australians never have to plug in their EVs again. Got a few points about this one. I love energy technology, and this may be it. So let's get rolling over to this first story here. Biden's green colonialism sends billions to Africa as Americans suffer. Today, I am on Ann Vandersteel's podcast, and we're talking about the Biden administration's energy policies as well as other things. Ann Vandersteel on her news channel has done a phenomenal job. I recommend you following her. And she's done a phenomenal job out there in the North Carolina in trying to let us know what's going on out there. So we have North Carolina with all of the Hurricane Helene problems. We have our president who is still now, he spoke about giving $3 billion of our money to Angola, investing in their energy ability because the future of the world is in Africa. Holy smokes, Batman. This one really gets me worked up because Democrats like Biden show over and over again their priorities are truly twisted and America is not first. They care about their control and power, but not the American people. NJ Anook, I just had a great podcast with him a few days, last week or week before. He is the chair of the African Energy Chamber, and I guarantee you that Jay knows what's going on. He said, don't give us handouts. Don't give us money. Get us business partners together and we will grow. He's got the right idea. Let's sell them technology at a really good price. It makes better for our GDP. It makes for trade partners. And then you let them, and not let them, but encourage them to use their own resources, natural gas and everything else. This one is absolutely despicable. And if you're not ready for the Democrats to be out of power, I am. I'll tell you, this is also disgusting as I'm tired of rhinos. Rhinos, go away. You're going to be all primaried out. Time to halt. Let's go to the next story before I lose a gasket. Time to halt Russian pipeline gas imports, or is it? With the Ukraine gas transit deal set to expire in 2024, Turk Stream is poised to become Russia's sole remaining pipeline outlet to Europe. Stopping its operations would cut off Russia's gas pipeline gas revenue entirely. This is pretty important because you take a look at what's going on in Syria. Russia just backed out of their bases there. You have Turkey that has been advertising and really wanting to be the new gas hub. And George McMillan and I have been talking about all of the different series that we have going along on here. And in fact, before Syria just exploded, George and I had talked about how it was about to explode, and we're releasing that podcast out, so it's very, very timely. So when you take a look at this, the U.S. Department of Treasury sanctions on Gazprom Bank present a decisive opportunity for the European Union to finally end all Russian gas imports. This is contrary to what I'm hearing sources saying from Chancellor Osloff out of Germany, because if you get rid of German uh, energy policies, have industrialized Germany. If they don't get Russian natural gas at a cheap price, they will continue to finish deindustrializing. And then the chancellor understands he's probably going to be gone. And politicians typically want to survive. And so a lot of things happening over there, and I'm keeping an eye on it. Let's go to Morgan Stanley raises Brent oil forecast for late 2025 after OPEC move. OPEC postponed the start of increasing oil production, tightening the market supply and potentially leading to higher prices. Morgan Stanley revised its Brent crude price forecast to $70 per barrel for the first of the second half of 2025 due to the OPEC Plus decision. The slower production increase might indicate concerns about oil demand not being strong enough to absorb all the oil supply. Morgan Stanley expects Brent crude prices to average $70 a barrel in the second half of 2025, up from 68 to 66 to 68. I'm still disagreeing with this, and I know that Ananias is really on X. Follow him. He is fantastic. I'm still thinking it's going to be in that $80 range, and there's so many reasons why I believe that. And when you take a look at all the numbers, this next article really kind of leans into that. Chevron is cutting low carbon spending by 25% amid belt tightening. The oil driller confirms green budget to 1.5 billion to from 2 billion. Chevron's prioritizing profits over oil production next year. So, Chevron plans to spend 1.5 billion on 2025 emission reduction efforts in order to end alternative energy initiatives down from 2 billion. The belt tightening comes as the investment appetite cools down for low carbon technologies. Chevron never pivoted as hard towards green energy as its European rivals, and that is a good thing. So, here's where I'm seeing a lot of things coming along in the corner. As the oil peak oil demand has not surfaced yet. We will still need oil into the foreseeable future unless we have new technologies come along that eliminate the need for this. There are technologies out there, and quite honestly, I can't wait to see them. Let's go to the next one. EV slumps, a global reality check. Global EV sales are slowing down due to high prices, concerns about charging infrastructure, and reduced government subsidies. Reduced government subsidies. Fiscal responsibility is finally starting to show up just as President Trump is taking office. And I have to give President Trump a shout out for being in Notre Dame and absolutely representing the United States as a president should. It is like a Papa has come home and the adults are paying attention. Everybody wanted to talk to President Trump, and they are happy to see him. I couldn't be happier. And car makers have scaled back production plans with U.S. EV output expected by 50% and European gas plans by 29% next year. EV market share is expected to reach 23% in Europe and 13% in the US. I tell you what, Ford has just come up and they're standing up to the EU and they're saying, we're not going to change, we're not going to match or meet your requirements because your requirements are crippling us. So, hats off to Ford, and I'm hopeful that Ford will do the same thing. They're not going to have to do that in the US because the EV mandates are going to change in the US. If you want an EV, by all means, let's let you have an EV. I recommend Tesla. I'm trying to save up for a Cybertruck, want a Cybertruck, but because of the trailers that I tow around on the land, I got everything I need. I want to have a Ford 250 or 350. I want to have a Cybertruck. I'm all off and running between that. Now, if we ever get to the point where I only need one, I'll be okay with that. But in the meantime, I'm going to need two. So let's go to the last story here, energy tech. As you heard me mention earlier in the podcast, we may have energy tech that's going to change everything. Hey, that'll mean less oil. Yay, life's good. This is really cool. Revolutionary Mercedes-Benz solar paint could mean Australians could never have to plug in their EVs again. This is actually very, very cool. First experimented on the 2022 Vision EQXX concept. The German's brand scientists initially thought tech had limited scope for mass production until the experiments were carried out with prototypes coated with paint in real world scenario. I think this is actually very cool. The number equates to 60% of the average daily commute or free energy. This is exciting from the standpoint that, yay, the whole car becomes a solar absorbing charging station. Here's where I got a rut row. Is this really going to work? Because if it is that expensive and you walk by and you go, oops, and you thump the car and you scratch it, does it ruin the charging capability by X number of percent? And you all have had cars out there that fade over time. How expensive is that paint job over time? Is it going to last 10 years? And is it going to degrade by thumping? Holy smokes. Could you imagine losing your ability to even charge your car in a hailstorm? West Texas, man, that's a tough thing to do. So, very, very good. I love energy technology, and I think that's a very, very good possibility out there for folks. Thank you to all of our wonderful listeners. We have had a phenomenal year. I'm going through our numbers, and it is just amazing where we've been. We are in the top 5 globally for top listened to energy podcasts on FeedSpot. We're ranked either 4 or 5, depending on how everything turns out. So I'm so pleased with the entire team and how everything is rolling on this. So also, it is tax season. If you do not like paying taxes, now's the time. I have my investment in Pecos Operating. They have a excellent opportunity. I like my mailbox money because I get my money on my oil and gas production. I get a check every month, and it's a 98%, I believe, was the tax break. But you need to look at your CPA, talk to your CPA. But if you want to find out information, go to the top tab of energynewsbeat.co. Is your portfolio okay? Fill out the form and I'll hook you up and say, hey, go over there and ask them all the right questions. Hey, if you want 32% on your money, that's not bad money. Hey, have a great day. We'll talk to you all soon.